just so everybody knows, Barbara, we do record these, they go up on the town website, so they are accessible, so you, and this owl will pivot, if you start talking, will pivot over to you. So your video as well as your audio will go on there, so just be aware. Just calling to order the July meeting of the Nation Commission. We need to do a quick roll call of the members. So Lori, I'll turn that over to you.
Mark Giaconia,
Not present.
Larry Willett,
Here.
Barbara Sedeloff, Nick Webb,
Here.
Mary Jo Phelps. Here. And Joan Blake. Here.
Right. So Mark was very instrumental in this grant, and I hope does show up as kind of a good news story. Anyway, first order of business is to approve not last month's meeting because we canceled that one due to the poor attendance, but the meeting before. So do I have any conversation about the minutes from the meeting before? No.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from my May 7th meeting.
So Jay, do we have a second? I'll second. Larry has a second.
I'll abstain since I was.
You can't, yeah.
I was not present.
So any conversation? No? All right, then all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, old business, so. MJ, anything on residential food composting?
Just not really, just that. The business manager for the Clinton Public Schools is maybe interested, but as of yet is not interested enough to. That I can contact Blue Earth and say,
Yeah.
let's get a dialogue.
Okay, so you saw I sent, so one of the, I had been going on the Negative website to find out what's going on with our land acquisition grant, and I saw this other grant about food waste composting. It required a very, very fast turnaround and it required everybody to participate. So again, I don't think we can do it for this year, but we could probably get it done for next year. And see if we could do it. So maybe we work throughout this next school year, put in the grant and see if we can get it going.
Right.
So-
I know you just walked in.
Yep.
Do we have an idea of how much we pay the school's waste to go to the?
I don't, because I was right, more in the financing out of school,
Okay.
well, we can, I'm sure we can find that number.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, and they use their own? Or does the town collect it?
That's a really good question, I actually have no idea what it's on doing, so I'll have to go straight to them.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
That's a great question, though. That's part of the cost benefit analysis that we need to do, so. Okay, I've got so much worse for a start here. Collaboration opportunities with the Sustainability Committee. They're gonna man a table at I think it's the Clinton Day. And they're gonna have a table that can sort of talk to all the things that we're doing in the town of Clinton. So I thought it was a great opportunity for things like residential composting, the pollinator pathway, possibly even land acquisition, although land acquisition is sort of a little more nebulous. So I'm gonna circulate it to everybody, and if I can get a couple of volunteers to man a couple hour sessions at the, Sustainability Committee table at Clinton Day. That would be great. And I'll take a shift as well.
And what day is that company? You know,
It's 2 days, right? Right, it's a Friday and a Saturday.
Well, I'll send all the information.
okay. All right.
So in terms of new business, I noticed that we have a couple of guests. And in the interest of moving them through the process as quickly as possible, I'm guessing that there is an issue that you would like to discuss.
We really don't. We don't have an issue. We just came to introduce ourselves to you. We are from the Boulder Lake Tax District. We've been a conservation group in the town since 1961. When we decided to preserve Boulder Lake, and the only way we could do that was to own the dam and become an association. Now we're a tax district, and that's what we do. So all we do is we take care of the lake, the wetlands, the dam, and critical, and we just came because we are private, obviously, you know, we're in a private area, but that's what we do, and we came because you're the Conservation Commission. And we thought you should know about us if you don't already know about us.
Absolutely.
And that is why I have a packet of, for you, if you'd like, of all the things that we do to conserve,
Yes,
you know, in Boulder Lake that you can take and I have an app. I'll just hand it to you guys.
Is this located in Killing?
It's what?
Is this work, located in Killingworth or here in Clinton?
Clinton.
Oh.
We are a special district. We are a quasi municipality. We're kind of like our own municipality, the
Oh.
Boulder Lake Tax District, but we were an association.
yeah,
And there's a map that someday you'll all really see for real. It would be what the GIS map would look like someday. It's our lake and those are our properties in red. We own 3 rights of way. And this is our packet and, of all the things we've done, the people we've worked with.
great.
And we just want to make sure you know who we were, but we're private, and so we didn't know if you knew about us.
Not a clue.
Where's Boulder Lake? Okay, well, you know where the town transfer station is.
Yes.
Okay, so Boulder Lake right there is in West Shore Drive and East Shore Drive circle Boulder Lake. And actually, the town owns some property in our tax district also. There are a few lots, okay? Boulder Lake is the end of a terminal moraine, okay? Actually, the boulders are called Boulder Knees. They're very, very historical. Okay, they're the only ones that exist because of the history of how the glaciers got them there. And there's our packet. You can see we've done everything that we could possibly think of with the town. We dredged the lake. Hey, we built a dam. Okay, we had to build a dam. And in order to save, and I've got, you know, and Susan, here's Susan Dearborn, and we're just officers of the Boulder Lake Tax District. And we wanted to come and tell you about ourselves. That's all we do. Conservation is all we do.
Well, thank you so much for showing up. You know, it's nice to have reinforcements.
Well, we don't really even know how we even fit into your group anyway,
Well,
because we're you know.
yeah, what I was gonna, let me just ask you though, your group, is it composed of the property owners in that group?
All of the property owners within the tax district,
And how many is that?
we have 91 residences, 91, we have 91 lots. That belong to our people, the town has a few of their own that are within the circumference of the group, but. We became an association in 1961. When, the Kelsey estate, the Riley estate, they were gonna do something very special. Mr. Riley died, they owed back taxes to the town. The town was not going to be able, I'm sorry, I didn't like that. The town was not going to be able to support the dam. Okay, and so something happened to the dam, the town said they would not fix it. So at that time in 1961, maybe about 6 people were approached by the owners who were way, way behind in taxes to the town. And they had to find a way to pay them. And so the people at the town said, if we want to preserve the lake, which if anything happens to the lake, if the dam was breached, the lake would go 15 feet down. Cause the lake in the middle is 15 feet, but it's all boulders, okay? It's fed by a stream at the north end. And it's all spring fed. Okay, our lake. You know, it's in really great shape. We have started something very new in the past 3 years. We only treat it with, we're trying to do no chemicals.
Yeah.
Because it's an old lake, 150, 200 years old. And we're trying to clean the bottom. We've been only using beneficial bacteria for 3 years. It's kind of like a test case with Mr. Bugsby. I don't know if you know Mr. Bugsby. He is the agricultural person for the state of Connecticut.
Okay.
And we work with him with our weeds and our lake and and keeping it clean.
Right.
And even he says, it's an experiment. So, but we're trying really hard to stay away from chemicals.
So when you treat it to get rid of the,
Muck, the silt underneath.
and how about the growth? Because most ponds and lakes will get filled with lily
We know.
pads, except
Well,
for which you treat.
One of the reasons why we ended up going to beneficial bacteria is because we had a really bad experience with the person who was our pond manager. And when we wanted to get rid of the lily pads, instead of just getting rid of a few, they overdid it and they got rid of them all. And it was then that we started with algae blooms. So algae blooms only came after we got rid of all of our lily pads. Cause lily pads, well, we know, are protect everything. They protect not just the animals and everything, they keep the lake cool. And if you can't keep the lake cool, you're gonna break out into the green algae, you know. We never had that until that happened. So after that, when the group met, we decided no more. We're not doing it. We're not putting our lake in the hands of anybody. And we do beneficial bacteria pods. My husband Gino, he goes out there in the boat, throws them around. We go and we do about, we don't have a big budget. Our budget makes mostly, it's usually dam repair. Unless we're dealing with something else. But most of our budget has to do with repairing the dam. We're under a 7-year plan with inspection with the state of Connecticut. You might remember us, I don't know, the big storm of 78 when Alec Bronso, flew over the Boulder Lake and the dam started to, I don't wanna say breach, but kind of, and it was, most of the water was coming in through the stream at the north end. But still, it took out my road, took out 95, took out underneath the railroad bridge, across the road. And at that point in time, we had to build a new dam.
Is it an overflow dam? In other
It's
words.
just that spillway, it's
Yeah,
small spillway, small spillway, it's not a big deal, Any of you ever wanna come, Abby definitely can tell you how to get in touch with us. Because we're close to the town, I'm not gonna tell you that. One of the things in that package you'll see, and Abby helped me with this too, is that we're all completely surrounded by inlands, wetlands, streams, water,
Right.
dams, that's who we are, and so, anyway, that's it.
And I've been there because I was on inland wetlands, responding to a complaint.
Yes, so at any time, anybody wants to see it, I'm at 42 West Shore.
And how much acreage?
So I wanna say 7.5 acres, Susan, 7.5 square acres or something.
That sounds right.
It's about 7.5, it sounds like it's 7.5 square acres, but that might also include our 303 right of ways that go to the lake. And we have 2 private roads. Baxter Road is a private road and Cove Trail are private roads. So,
Does the taxing district, the funds it makes also used to clear the roads and maintain?
yes, the town does not clear our
I
roads.
see.
Not those 2, no. But the town does own East Shore and West Shore. Okay, so they do clear those 2, but in order to get to the lake, you have to go down Baxter Road, which is right off Nod Road. We're right off Nod Road, so. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Swim, ice fishing was the biggest hit this year anyway. I wanna say fishing, but we see more people in the winter. I gotta tell you, all kinds of snow stuff going on there, and ice fishing was big this year. We're really helping bass. So, Anyway, that's it. We just came, we wanted to introduce ourselves. We actually saw it in the Clinton book
Right,
that said, well, that you guys talk about public things, but you like to know about the private things to make sure we're on a list of places. I said, I don't even know if they know about us, so,
well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming in, that's really great.
well, you're welcome, and that's it. You can keep our packet, and that map is just, like I said. Anyway, that's it. Any other, you all good?
Good.
The only thing I would mention to her is, there are, for example, the water company, and there's other sources of funding for protection of, land in which you have water resources. You may or
Not
may
when,
be able to
not when
access
you
that.
are private, it's really hard when you are a private. It's very hard when you are your own municipality. Okay, we are a municipality, just like the town of Clinton is a municipality, we're our tax district. When we were formed in 1995. Now, we were only formed as a tax district in 1995 in order to pay for the $30,000 it was gonna cost us to build a new dam, because the state required us to build a new dam. We're a committee group, 10 of us put our houses, 10 of us mortgaged our houses in order to get that, because we're a nonprofit. So 10 of us did that, but we needed money from everyone, and as an association, it's not equitable, so the town, who definitely wanted us to be in charge of the dam, we are completely in charge of the dam, erosion of the dam, the inspection of the dam. Those are all our responsibility.
Alright.
So, and
Going back to your question as to what we do and whether or
Yeah,
how we
yeah.
fit into it. Basically, we're in charge of the task of, basically, making an inventory of all the town's, natural resources.
Right.
And then creating a plan of conservation, in connection with conserving those resources. and
Right.
protecting them.
right, that's why we're
extent-
here.
That's what I'm saying to you,
Yeah.
to the extent that you have water, and also
Yeah.
one of the natural resources we have for the town are historic assets.
Oh, yes,
And you
historic.
mentioned you had
Oh,
boulders.
yes, we have
You had a historic,
In order to be a conservation district, you really do have to have historical parts to you also. And I would say that if you see Boulder Lake, it probably is a photo of it on the front there. It's all boulders, and it's amazing. Part of it is really high up and some of it's low. And one of our cottages are built on boulders, but it's a specific name. We're part of the Clinton quadrangle, okay, which is a really an important geographical area in the town. Okay, and so that particular, our particular boulders are only there, okay? And they're called Monsoon Boulder Nicks. I know, too much. Anyway, yes, so there's a historical part to our tax district, our association, and then the New Haven Register called us a village once and said, we're still a village.
Right.
We try to stick together, we know each other, And so I don't know how we can help you or you can help us, but we wanted you to just know us.
Well, no, I
And
think.
put us on your list, you know what, there's a lot of conservation going over there.
Right,
yeah, the only thing I would say is to the extent that we're interested in preserving and protecting.
Yes,
The town's, historical assets.
Yes.
Its natural assets, and to the extent that you have water assets, you have.
we do,
You have
we do.
historical significance to certain
We
areas of
do.
your property. Maybe there would be a time where we could, either through suggestions or help
Yeah.
or direction in connection with what you could do to
Yeah.
to acquire
Yeah.
assistance
Yeah.
in preserving.
And the town made it unbuildable, we are open spaces.
okay.
So, the town did that for us, I want to say in around 91.
So, yeah, I mean, I think the important thing, as Larry says, is if you have requirements or needs that need to be met.
Oh, yeah, we'll ask the town.
Well, and
Right?
for us, and Abby and us can respond, but
Yes, well, we're just.
Abby's a good spot.
You gave us a chance to come and share, and Susan and I just wanted to share with you.
Okay.
The other thing is the water that needs our lake,
goes under 95, it goes under the railroad bridge, and eventually it goes into Hammonasset.
Yes, all of our water goes.
It does
into Hammonasset
eventually, the
River.
water eventually does become used.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes, and our president is Wes Kavanaugh, who's on the Shellfish Commission, and he reminds us all the time about what we do affects, you know, what happens
Right.
everywhere.
I
everywhere.
wish you would remind everybody else.
I know, but we do our best. We
Yeah.
try, it's a battle, but we do try, you know, and we try to teach people. Right now, we're trying to teach people about, leave those weeds in the lake, they're gonna grow, they grow under the ice. They die when they get to the top. If you don't like the way they look, we got harvesting rakes, grab one and get them out.
Yeah.
We do not need to have somebody come in here and put chemicals into this lake. It's really very, very clean, you know, and we're really trying to get it back to, well, before we lost all the lily pads.
Right,
So in case you ever know anybody, don't ever let them take out all the lily pads. Okay, because people tend to want to do that. You know, we used to just have them in a few places, but they've all gone. Clean lake is not necessarily a healthy lake.
We do test our water every Monday.
right.
Yes, yes, yeah, Craig comes every Monday
Okay.
out to our lake to test the water for swimming.
I see.
Yeah, that's great, yeah.
Yeah, obviously, we're interested in helping, any groups in the town,
Yes,
preserve natural resources, especially water resources.
yeah,
That, help contribute to the water quality of the river
yeah,
and then the sound. And
Absolutely.
to the extent that you preserve it, you're helping us with our job.
yes.
So if there's any time you need advice or assistance, please come to us.
Okay,
And we'll try to put together our brain trust.
and
to try to
in the
get this
meantime,
something-
put us on your list,
All right,
that we are part of your conservation in this town, because we didn't even know.
well, we do have a couple of spots available in the Conservation Commission.
Oh, I bet you do, but I gotta tell you something, right now, being the secretary of the Boulder Lake Tax Review is more than a full-time job, we're all volunteers.
Right,
You know, and especially right now in the summer, just trying to deal with so much going on, but yes, I understand, I do
Yeah, I
understand, I
mean-
got your message, I
all
got
right,
your message.
well, the salaries we pay here at the Conservation Commission are. just-
Yes, we get paid nothing.
Yeah,
We get paid nothing either, we're a completely volunteer
All right.
organization, so we don't get paid anything either, but we appreciate you.
well,
And we wanna make
appreciate
sure
you.
you do who we were, and it, you know, we are here in this town doing what you want us to. You know, and not even knowing, it.
Well, now we do,
now you do.
thanks so much.
And by the way, I would just mention another resource that
Yes.
you would have as a group preserving natural resources.
Yeah.
Historic resources is, we have the Clinton Land Conservation Trust.
You know what, that's very interesting that you asked, we had one of our members who has a big plot of land, it's all natural, tried to give. He's elderly and he tried to give it over to the land trust, but they said no, because it's at the end of a private road. And so that is, so we did have a member.
Issue.
Yes, yes, so we're at the end of a private road, although Susan and I want to make sure everybody knows that at the end of that private road, okay, our right of way, we are connected to the town property on a shorter road. So we're not completely, you know, when we became a tax district, we did not include the town doesn't pay taxes to us, they don't belong, but they're in the perimeter.
I see.
Which is one of the requirements for a tax district, you have to have a physical perimeter going around and a few other things that maybe before the town voted on us becoming, the town did this for us,
And that land was offered to the trust a long time ago?
1961.
Oh, okay, well, if there's still an.
Oh, no, the trust.
Yeah.
I don't know when Roger would have done that. I wanna say
Yes, it definitely was, because it was just before he got sick, so.
yeah, just before he's in a convalescent home right now, and they don't know what they're gonna do with the
Well,
property.
if you wanna let the land trust know again, maybe we could reconsider.
We have a couple members of the land trust.
I will let them know, because honestly, it's a beautiful piece of land, it's in the cove of our property, it's never been touched. I
Okay.
mean, it's all natural.
And if not the land trust, we have the Red Wing Foundation, which also.
You do have the Red Wing Foundation, which I know we see doing that, so anyway, I'll mention it, and
Okay,
we'll
great.
talk to his brother-in-law, he's sick right now and he's in a convalescent home, but. He did it, and he really tried to do that, he even tried to give it to, I don't know, the cats. The people who take care of the cats, you know, but they wouldn't do it either, because we're at the end of the private road.
Right,
And so unless you're a member of the tax district, you cannot go down that private road, because it takes you to the beach. Okay, so,
Can I just ask you, are you part of a historical like, you might have said it in a historical district, like, what do they call that?
we are really.
Like a town square, you know, they have those
No,
signs.
No, we do not, we are not, we were just regular people, you know.
No, but I mean, you feel like get some kind of
Yeah,
affiliation with the historical district.
we are gonna put up a few little signs next to our boulders so that people can know that they're important. And don't dig in them or drill it out, or whatever. But we are not, we're just a village,
All right.
you know,
If you need a geologist,
yes.
my daughter is coming home from the summer. She's a grad student. She's more than happy to help.
Well, we have, like I said, our lake is beautiful and it's, if you see it, and you're certainly welcome, be in touch if anybody wants to see it. I could either meet you at the beach, or you could come to 42 West Shore Drive, and it's right in my backyard, and
Okay,
you can
great.
come anytime. Okay,
Well, thanks so much.
thank you for what you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving on to new business. Do you want to give us an update on the plan of conservation and development?
Yep, so the consultants have been working with the planning and zoning commission, specifically their subcommittee, to draft the vision statement and goals surrounding that was gonna become the basis of the plan structure. So what we had done, we should have gotten an email from us a little while back that gave all of those goals out there, so we were looking for feedback from folks, and especially this commission, to make sure that we got it right. So I don't know, first of all, has everybody seen that?
I thought and I didn't respond. And I did.
Fair. Folks can go in, yep, we had that, exactly it. We have a meeting of the committee tomorrow night, and the plan is to, we've taken the goals and the vision to the whole commission, to the whole planning and zoning commission, to the town council, and I think, it's been shared with the EDC as well, but I think, because of your role in open space and historic preservation, we really wanna make sure that there's nothing we're missing in any of this. This is not what you see in what was sent to you in the goals survey, is not the full plan, it was just, here's where we're going, so that we can then build the plan to match the vision, the goals, and the strategies. So if there are things that you think should be in here, now is really the time, our drafters are furiously at work. By the end of August or 1st of September, we need to have a draft in place, and we can back out for public comment on the draft. To make sure that we meet our November deadlines for finalizing this plan, getting into OPM. So we don't wanna be late, as long as we're working on it, it's a little wiggle room, but we really don't wanna deviate from the schedule, we wanna get this right, we wanna get it right now. So.
So
couple
can
things-
we, Barbara, I will send that on to you as well, so you got it.
Yeah,
Oh, look at you. But, I will re-forward it to everybody, just so it's at the top of their inbox.
no, awesome, that's good.
And, let's do that.
So then also, once the open space chapter is drafted, most of the plan will come out as one comprehensive thing to the public, just because it's hard to look at it in pieces. But I'm gonna ask this group to take a look at the open space component to make sure that it's consistent with where you've been, where you're going, and that we haven't missed anything.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, that's really it. Stay tuned for workshop details toward the end of the summer. It's either gonna be the last week of August or just after Labor Day. And at that point, we'll be presenting the draft plan, giving people time to respond and then we'll do all that.
Excellent.
I just tried to click on the,
Yeah, that's what happened.
and it takes you in a loop, it takes.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too, that's what happened.
If you go, alright, so the link broke, if you go into the planning department webpage, we have a link in the top left part of our webpage that gets you into the P O C D project page. You should also be able to find stuff there, and if not, I will send everybody a PDF first thing in the morning to make sure you have it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sounds good. All right, great. I think we covered sustainability summit last. Meeting,
Well, and you started talking about it.
right, so I mean, the one takeaway that I've got, or action item, is that table that we've got a man, and I would think that residential food composting might be
The thing that we.
the thing that we should
Yeah.
talk about there.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna submit that to Brett. Who's looking for stuff, and
sure.
we'll do that. Anything else that rings a bell?
Is beautification gonna do anything about pollinator pathways?
That's a really good point. Let me talk to Sherry.
Do you still have your little brochure that you made up?
Of course.
Okay.
I've also got the brochure on knotweed, which I think probably would be interesting to
Okay,
them as well.
okay,
So, let me talk to Sherry, find out from beautification, find out what
Okay.
she's up to. But yeah, I mean, the pollinator pathway, by the way, oh, my garden.
your own garden.
It's
Okay.
going great on the hummingbirds, pollinators,
Nice.
butterflies, you name it.
Nice.
Anyway, neither here nor there, but I do think the push that we're making right now is residential food waste. So why don't we go with that unless, but I will have the others, available for them as they need it. So Lori, I think that turns us over to correspondence.
Can I just say, it was
Yeah.
sustainability, I don't know if we're still talking about, remember we were talking about the sustainability, putting trees and planting by the sidewalks?
Yes, they are still working on that. The other thing that they're working on is the, bike racks,
Like Rex, yeah.
which was another
It's not
thing
on
we
the
talked
train
about.
station, is it?
Oh, that's awesome.
Train station has a bike rack.
Oh, a
There's
bike-
some,
yeah.
yeah, there's some around town, like there are some at the marina, and there's like little places where you can find like little silver, very simple ones. We submitted a grant to the T-Mobile's hometown program for over $30,000 for artistic sort of style bike racks to try and merge art and transportation. The tagline is like art cycle, art with a purpose, and the idea being that we can find some coastal sort of themes, have things manufactured, sort of look at a community collaborative design process, and have 4 or 5 of these put up at various locations on municipal property with the hope that if we have contracts for the application, folks on private property can also, sort of pick a design and then get one on their property too. So trying to, the Central Park up here, Veterans Park, I think, the official name, as everybody calls it, down at the marina, out here by the kayak launch, and by family services, we are, family services to do the places to start with, and then expanding from there.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll see if we get, we'll cross our fingers for the grant.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you remember we were looking for a specific tree that put in Clinton? I came up with one that won't get all. Fungus in the dime. The eastern pink tree. It goes well on the shoreline. I saw it along in London along that road, there's a pequot
Yeah,
all the way around there.
it's Eastern what?
Eastern pink,
Pink.
it's hardy, it'll be shade.
But one important thing too, is that the roots have to grow straight down.
Instead of
It's
spread,
right.
spread out the right, I'll call you guys.
See if the eastern pink fits that.
Cool, but I mean, that's, so, again, I think, I'm trying to remember, is that? Concert,
It
the,
was.
Sustainability, and there's the tree committee as well, so there's sort of a partnership between multiple groups who are interested in it, and so I think they're. Trying to figure out the best way forward and locations where it might go. There's also been some discussion between me and Gary and Todd. About, at least for municipal properties, coming up with a plan, like receiving areas from trees and a list of what folks are looking for. So that we can make it really easy, whether it's the tree committee or private donations or anybody who wants a tree in a particular location, we have it kind of ready to go and say. You pick here, you pick from this list, the answer is yes. So we're
That's
like,
perfect.
That's great.
yeah, I mean, I always think we could set up a little, thing where you could gift a tree to the town of Clinton. Which might be kind of fun. Okay, correspondence.
This is an email that was received by the land use office this morning. And Abby will speak to this.
So there's a few things in here, but one of the reasons that we're forwarding it on to you is there's a resident who has some real strong concerns and opinions about invasive species and ways in which we can pursue eradication of her particular concern is Atlantis, but also, others as well. And some of what you'll see, so what you'll see at the top of the handout is her original email that bounced back to her. And then the second one is what she had requested go to the Planning and Zoning Commission. But a lot of what she's talking about here actually affects this group, so we told her we pass it out here too. I'm trying to set up a meeting with her for next week, just to kind of talk about her general concerns and ideas, and I think it's the sense of where to go, and if she wants to come and have any kind of partnership or involvement with some of the invasive species education outreach opportunities, that would be a good idea. And then, there are some things in here, relative to like the process of how one finds information about applications and all that kind of stuff. So we've already given her some ways to follow along with the board's commission and make sure she puts herself on sort of the automatic notification list and that kind of thing too. But, just a heads up, that's, she wanted to share that.
Okay, that's good.
Great.
Also a lot of mimosa tree, mimosa, just, it smells so beautiful, but it's an invasive.
Oh,
There's a lot, something.
Japanese knotweed is everywhere. And
This one has the additional problem those, it's
That's
part
right.
for the spotted lantern.
right.
So. It
Okay.
sounds like it's got all of the problems of Japanese knotweed and then also.
And then some, yeah.
habitat. Yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna do some research on
yeah.
it. Okay, good. All right, Lori, anything else? All right. So. What I am then gonna do is. Gonna open up the joint land acquisition subcommittee. I see Mike see, I don't see your, Mike see.
He couldn't make it, yeah,
First, he thought he could make it, then I don't know why.
he has 3 grandchildren, they're all in some kind of thing tonight, a performance of some play, and he's not gonna miss that, so,
You know what, if they were a little less talented, maybe.
So he's putting family first, Mike.
I think that's a positive thing. Anyway, so we're gonna open that up, we should take attendance.
Larry Willett,
Here,
Nick Webb,
Here,
Mike Hood,
here,
Mike Castiglione, and Mark Giacomo.
neither. Okay. So I think we have to be careful about announcing the news, it's supposed to be on QT. But I think we got some good news from.
I think our planner wanted to look at that.
Well, again, I don't think we should do it on camera.
It's so we're waiting for press releases to come officially. That's the last I just heard from Dana to make sure that it's.
And is that because they wanna release it? All
They're,
the
yeah,
different-
this is their, they all, so everybody publicly gets things at the same time, but letters went out and said, so there's optimism.
Yeah. So, and it's a high enough amount. That it really should allow us to consummate the purchase of.
Yeah, which means what I would suggest is this, we talked about setting a meeting at our last land trust meeting. It was discussed, 2 things were discussed. One, we were gonna hold off on that September
Right.
meeting for the library presentation.
Yeah,
And we were gonna set it possibly for a later date in the fall. But it all was dependent upon do we get the grant or not, et cetera. And the consensus was, what we should do is wait to hear about the grant. And then schedule a meeting late in July, so that immediately following our knowledge on whether we got the grants, we can then set an agenda of what to do. to immediately proceed forward, because if in fact we're gonna get the grant, you then have to immediately move forward by directing our attorney, the land trust attorney, get in touch with the people, and their attorneys, set up the contract date,
Yeah,
get this contract signed, set up the closing date, order the land, the title search. All of these things have to be set in motion within the next 30 days. So what we should do is meet as a committee, near the end of July. What I was gonna suggest is either, Wednesday, July 23rd, 6 to 7 PM at the library, or Thursday, July 24th, 6 to 7 PM at the library. Well, is that either day good for our members?
I'm not gonna be around those dates.
You're not gonna be around?
Right. That's okay.
I'm gonna be, yes, I'm gonna be out of the country, actually.
Oh, okay, all right.
Maybe the following week? Well, then I'm out.
It may be valuable to have a conversation about timeline and process with Deep when the time comes and just, you know, so get the
Well,
most.
I was gonna suggest what are all the timelines that the grant is gonna require, once we get it moving. So let me ask our planner, Abby, if we put it off until maybe, what, the second week in August? Is that good for both second week of August?
I'm available then. Yeah, what was the later date you gave?
The later date would have been Thursday, 7/24. We have our land trust meeting on 7/22, Tuesday.
But the first two dates that we came up.
Was 7/22, which is a Wednesday.
Well, no,
I'm
that's
sorry,
right.
Wednesday is 7/23, Thursday, 7/24. Those are the dates you're saying you're unavailable.
You know,
He's such an international traveler.
Well, that's the thing. If you let us ride on that, we could go to wherever.
Yeah, I mean, if this is private jet material, we could all go and,
Over.
I actually think it might be good to add in this little meeting, Ken McDonald and, you know, the finance
Yes.
person
Get them involved.
and the lawyer, is that also Ken?
Ken is our lawyer for the land trust.
Okay, so he should be at this meeting too.
Exactly.
yeah, Larry, I can't make either one of those.
All right.
So how about the first week? You're gone the first week in August?
Yeah,
Okay. Second week in August.
I'm good, but
Okay,
remember,
second week is when committees usually meet, town committees. So what do we have on the second?
we're on that Wednesday.
We're on that Wednesday.
So we could actually use our conservation commission subcommittee and do it appropriately.
Then usually though, we're very quick in our subcommittee meetings, because we don't wanna delay this overall meeting.
Well,
You
we
wanna
could
come
meet
up-
afterwards.
All right, how
We
about
could
Monday?
close our meeting.
Yeah, we could
Let me
close,
suggest this, how about that Monday of the second week in August?
that works for me.
Okay, Monday, second week in August? What day is that?
11.
Monday, August 11th. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be 6 to 8 PM in the library.
6 to 8, geez.
We would
Well,
have to
I
get the
can't-
library.
What's that?
In the library.
Well, what we
I do that.
we meet in the lobby and then we'll find. a place.
No, I
wanna set it up. Okay, so I will send out an agenda for
2 hours.
Monday, August 11th at 6 to 8 PM for our 6 members. And also for Ken, our the attorney. And then I guess the last question is, we will contact you, Abby, beforehand to just touch base on anything having to do with what you think the time requirements.
Yeah,
will be.
assuming information is out there and everything is
Right.
forward, then I will chat with Allison and after we even ask what you need to know and make sure there are process documents that they have and how to spell
Yeah,
that.
if you give us an email before that meeting as to what the time requirements are that we have to meet with regard to the grant, we can then direct the attorney, these are the things you have to set in motion.
Yeah.
You know, get your title search going and get your meeting set with the owners and
Yeah.
get everything coordinated.
I did volunteer you, Mike, go receive the grant if such was happening. Cause I said, we have somebody that's a real land conservation person. Looks the part. So
Are you putting me on, or are you serious?
no, I'm serious.
No, good. I love that.
Anyway. But obviously I'd go with you and we'd have a
Oh,
really
good.
very celebratory.
Oh, well, what are you, you're excluding me now? I'm
Larry,
the co-chair of this committee.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, all right, we'll coordinate that.
You're very busy.
We'll coordinate that. Well,
All right.
I can open myself up here or there.
All right,
Okay,
excellent.
and also, we don't have to worry if it's a lot of.
You don't look
Now
like-
that we got Barbara on the committee, she's here to do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So,
Right. All right, cool. Anything else for the subcommittee?
the only other thing is if we're gonna do a presentation, but we can have that further discussion after the grant issues are resolved,
Okay.
as far as
Um,
the library goes.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing, I still think we need somebody to reach out to the
Owners.
owners and
Well, that's-
just let them know that things are progressing. I know Mark has done it, but I think maybe somebody like Ken, who is more.
Okay, but we gotta kind of give Ken a feel for,
I'm happy to write a sample email of what I'd like to have happen. Because at this point, they haven't heard from us in,
yes,
I mean, almost 9 months.
Yeah.
Even though Mark reached out to them,
yeah,
I think it's important to know that it's still progressing and we're getting some positive words.
that's fine. If you prepare something,
Let me prepare
send
something.
it out to the committee and then let's give you the go ahead for it.
Okay, great.
And this is a letter. to
Well,
Ken.
no, it should be Ken sending it.
Yeah.
to-
So it's a letter advising Ken what he should,
Exactly.
communicate to the
Yeah.
owners.
Okay,
Okay, all right,
That sounds good.
yeah.
okay.
All right, so,
This is all in place, are you going to do some type of official
oh, gosh.
announcement at the?
Yes, yeah,
Have
we
people on
got,
bikes walking and doing stuff?
yeah, cutting ribbons, the whole thing.
Big scissors.
Yeah,
Jim,
yeah. I was gonna bring champagne to this one, but then I realized, you know what?
Yeah, yeah.
Don't jinx it.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that covers off the subcommittee. So can I get a motion to adjourn the
I'll
subcommittee?
make that motion.
All right, can I get a second? All right, any of the three of us wanna have a conversation on it? No? All right, then,
Okay.
let's vote. All in favor of closing?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that passes unanimously. So now it's just closing the regular conservation commission meeting.
Motion to adjourn the regular conservation.
Second,
All right, got that? All right, any discussion on that? No? All in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye. All right, Barbara, you made it.
awesome.
Okay, are they composting Friday